The Nightbeat starts right now.
It is part of the chaos that first responders see every day and night. Statistics say violent crime in San Antonio is down this year, but EMS crews aren't seeing it. KSAT investigates, rides along on life and death calls on San Antonio streets. But first,
2 more San Antonio area schools are going to close. Edwood ISD trustees have voted to close Winston Intermediate School of Excellence and Wren Middle School.
Yeah, but more changes may be coming for Edgewood. The Night Team's Patty Santos joins us from the conference center at Edgewood. Patty, SAISD last night, Edgewood denied. I'm sure there had to be a lot of emotion at this meeting as well.
Yeah, this announcement tonight has a generational impact. There's a lot of pride in this community, and this closures tonight, it's very personal for families and for educators.
All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Aye.
After weeks of community meetings, the board moved forward with a narrowed down list of closures. Wren Middle and Winston Intermediate schools will not open next school year.
That's what I came for, that hopefully that it would change their mind, but apparently not.
Students in attendance for tonight's meeting now heartbroken. Many parents were outraged, saying the process moved too quickly and had little community input. Even one committee board member was critical of the process.
I don't think the parents knew the seriousness of what was happening. That was, because if you look at the title, Rethink, Redesign, it doesn't say closures.
The closure is expected to save the district roughly $15 million next school year. But dropping student enrollment was also a part of the decision to close those 2 campuses. District leaders say it was an emotional but necessary decision to improve and save the district.
Tonight's decision is important because what it does is that, yes, there is going to be a change in the community in terms of where students are going to be attending school. But I would ask people to also consider that there's also going to be opportunities for students to go to schools where we can change resources and move resources to include people.
And tonight, leaders are asking Edgewood ISD parents who are upset about this decision to join them moving forward to save any possible schools in the future that may be in jeopardy if attendance continues to drop. Reporting live tonight, Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Now on to another school district. Former Uvalde CISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo has gone from honorably discharged to just discharged. Arredondo, if you remember, he was the school district's top cop during the unfortunate shooting last year. He got fired. He had previously won an appeal to remove a blemish from his discharge file. But this latest here is that the school district challenged that ruling and they won. The honorable discharge decision had cleared Arredondo's record in case he wanted another law enforcement job. But this new ruling has pretty much closed the case. If you remember, he was heavily criticized for how he handled the Robb Elementary shooting that left 19 students and 2 teachers dead last year. So maybe a few minutes ago, you may have gotten this message on your phone. It's for an active Amber Alert out of Wilmer, Texas, which is 20 minutes just south of Dallas.
Police there are looking for 10-year-old Ian Aguilar. There's a picture of him on your screen. Officers are also looking for 38-year-old Juan Aguilar Cano. In connection to the abduction, his picture also on your screen.
The suspect was last seen driving a tan 2007 Chevy Tahoe with the license plate number KVZ 1194. Again, I'm going to say it again, KVZ 1194. If you know anything that could help, call Wilmer Police. The number's on your screen. It's 972-441-6565.
A San Antonio police officer in trouble tonight. This man facing charges after being arrested for domestic violence. This is Mark Andrew Sanchez Jr. SAPD says he turned himself in this morning after the alleged victim filed a report with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office on Saturday. Right now, Sanchez is suspended without pay. This is actually the second law enforcement arrest in the last week. Bexar County Sheriff's Office Deputy Tony Ramirez arrested Wednesday for an assault. She was immediately fired.
So if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, please get help. You can start by scanning that QR code that you see there on your screen.
Yeah, that'll take you to KSAT.com and a number of resources offering assistance. That list includes everything from counseling and support to legal and financial services. You can find it right now at KSAT.com.
You know, many of you have been worried about safety around San Antonio, and that's exactly why San Antonio District 8 Councilman Manny Pelaez hosted a meeting tonight so that people can go and talk. They aired their grievances, and they definitely packed the house. They filled the conference room at University Methodist Church on De Cebala. They talked about homeless encampments, trash, graffiti in their area, but the thing that got the most attention was car break-ins.
Biggest issue right now is people breaking into cars. Where are the cops? Where were they? They came back to our neighborhood night after night after night because they could, because it was easy, because there wasn't a deterrent there.
Councilman Manny Pelaez asked SAPD officers who were there in the room if they could look into that issue. He also told people not to leave their valuables in their cars or in plain sight, and that's pretty much advice that we should all listen to as we start holiday shopping. So now let's go to your Nightbeat news flash. Texas lawmakers sending their first bill of this fourth special session to Governor Abbott. Senate Bill 4 passed the House around 8 o'clock tonight. If the governor signs it, it's going to allow law enforcement to arrest people who cross the border illegally on a state misdemeanor. The House also passed an amended version of Senate Bill 3, which would use more than $1.5 billion in state funds to help with border security and a border wall. And that's going to head back to the Texas Senate. So now the U.S. Senate is going to take up the vote to keep the government funded. This afternoon, the House passed House Speaker Mike Johnson's two-part stopgap funding plan. 93 Republicans voted against the plan, 13 of them from Texas. ABC News is reporting that the Senate will likely approve that plan by the Friday night deadline. The whistleblower case against Attorney General Ken Paxton will be allowed to proceed up in Travis County. That's according to the Texas Tribune. The decision comes months after the group of former top Paxton aides nearly reached a $3.3 million settlement with his office. However, lawmakers never approved that settlement. Instead, they launched the investigation that led to Paxton's impeachment trial, which, as you remembered, he was acquitted on. So now his office is arguing that the whistleblower lawsuit violates the tentative settlement, but the whistleblower's attorneys disagree because it was never paid. And that's a look at your Nightbeat Newsflash.
The season of giving alive and well in City Council District 2, it seems. That's where today the San Antonio Food Bank, the West Care Foundation, the San Antonio Firefighters Union, and Councilman Jalen McKee Rodriguez teamed up to give people 300 turkeys and other food for their families. They seem to appreciate it because without this, many families wouldn't have a turkey for Thanksgiving.
Many of our residents are some of the most vulnerable in the city and might not necessarily be able to afford all that comes with a Thanksgiving dinner on their own, and so we're happy to provide that support.
Today, not just about turkeys, though. People who went to the event also were connected with other resources that are available throughout the community.
We talked about birds, Thanksgiving. We got to talk about Christmas. And yes, my friends, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. A 50-foot holiday tree arrived today at Travis Park ahead of the 39th annual HEB tree lighting ceremony. Now, that tree that you're looking at, it comes from Salem, Oregon. It's going to be decorated with around 10,000 lights, dozens of handmade ornaments. The tree lighting celebration happens the day after Thanksgiving, and that is going to be November 24th.
San Antonio police data shows violent crime is down this year compared to last, but EMS crews aren't feeling the change. KSAT Investigates rides along with them to see the calls and response for ourselves. Adam.
Cooling quickly out there tonight. Dress in layers, not just tomorrow, but the rest of the week. We'll talk about the morning chill, how warm it gets in the afternoon, and the next system we're watching that could affect our Thanksgiving. I'll see you in a bit.
It is grassroots journalism. We're not talking to politicians or elected officials. We're talking to neighbors. And in this edition of Know My Neighborhood, we're experiencing the growing pains of Alamo Ranch. So when I say Alamo Ranch, what do you want people to think of?
I think we're a melting pot.
An older community, younger community, growing family, military families. It's a little bit of everybody here. When it gets dark, it gets dark. And these cars and these vehicles are still here. These main parkways are not very well illuminated. I don't feel like it's safe.
The traffic, the congestion, overpopulation, that's pretty frustrating.
Yeah. Everyone wants their piece of what's out here, and so it's growing faster than what the infrastructure can keep up with.
Accurate to say you're experiencing growing pains?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fair. That would absolutely be fair.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
The 6 o'clock live on location in Alamo Ranch. By the way, in case you missed our first episode of Know My Neighborhood, Westwood Square, just scan this QR code on your screen. You can watch it on the KSAT, on KSAT.com, the YouTube channel, or KSAT Plus.
It's something we see, we hear about day after day. KSAT covers shootings across our city. But here's the thing. If you look at the data on the San Antonio Police Department's website, Crimes Against People, it actually shows that violent crimes are down this year compared to last year.
Yeah, but that's not how it seems to first responders. They let KSAT Investigates Lee Waldman right along for a glimpse of what they see every day.
The whole purpose of kind of my job is we make all the high acuity calls that are out there. We supply all the ambulances, make sure that they have everything that they need.
San Antonio Fire Department Medic Officer Joshua Franson is prepared.
So this is a blood warmer that was designed by some of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces.
For all situations he or other EMS crews might face.
Once this scan's on here, and you see how I can see all that and follow that all the way up, and it shows me exactly where to start.
As of late, that's been more and more calls for violence.
The last 24 months, I've never seen anything like it. Without a doubt, we are making more shootings than we've ever made.
San Antonio Police Department posts data provided by the National Incident-Based Reporting System on its website. It shows assaults have dropped nearly 11% from 2022 to 2023 between the months of January and September. Murders during the same period have also dropped by almost 40%, though last year's data is skewed due to the June 2022 deaths of 53 people in a tractor trailer.
I don't know where they're getting that data because it's definitely not what we're seeing or feeling on the streets, and I feel 100% confident. You could ask anybody who's out here, they'll say the same thing.
KSAT Investigates rode along for 2 nights to see for ourselves.
The information is still coming in. We won't roll in on this scene until PD's secured it for us.
Night 1 was quiet, though Franson did assist in responding to a car inside of a home. But night 2, a different story.
Second shooting in 30 minutes. Thursday, it's not even midnight.
It came in as possible shots fired. Looks like we got an individual who's been shot in the head.
The second call was a domestic violence call. Franson says they see those every day.
It's malignancy on your soul.
Right when we got to the scene, Franson went inside a home. PD was still taping off the area. He was back in a moment, grabbing surgical supplies and the mobile ultrasound to find a heartbeat for the victim.
We did some finger thoracotomies, had some chest trauma, so we ended up opening up the chest because we were positively ventilating for him.
Unfortunately, the victim didn't survive.
And we'll turn the scene over to PD and let PD handle it from here.
Research is happening now with SAPD and UTSA on ways to cut down on crime, but no one seems to have an answer as to why it's happening.
I do know that we see more and more people that are here that's involved in this have previous criminal records. They have outstanding warrants. They're being arrested and released.
All Franson and the rest of SAFD can do is promise to respond and try to save lives.
There hasn't been an emergency in the history of the San Antonio Fire Department that we haven't solved.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Lee Waldman.
Obviously a bad situation for the victims out there, but also for those EMS crews that respond. The San Antonio Fire Department has peer-to-peer support as well as psychologists and critical incident stress debriefs after responding to these traumatic events in order to care for crews' mental health and to combat burnout.
Yeah, of course, because we're depending on them to help us out. Now, you can watch the story again and also part 1 of our EMS ride-along series by heading to KSAT.com and also our KSAT YouTube page.
Certainly makes you feel thankful for those first responders
Yes,
that are out there night after night.
Yep.
responding to these calls. All right, 56 degrees out there, Adam, and
what's this about an AM chill?
I know, we're in for a little something going on here.
I like it. Dressing in layers, long sleeve in the morning, short sleeves. You can even wear shorts in the afternoon. It's that kind of weather where anything goes. I love it. And here's the key. No air conditioning or furnace needed. Nope. Efficient season now. I like it. Fall-like feel continues. Next rain chances on Sunday, and that system we're watching, I do think will affect our Thanksgiving holiday. So we'll get to that in a moment. I want to get you out the door for tomorrow. 46 in Boerne, Bulverde 46 degrees. So outlying areas, especially to the north and west of San Antonio, mid to upper 40s. Sabinal, Hondo 48, in and around the Alamo City, right around 50 degrees for the morning temperature. But we warm up quickly. With the sunshine, the dry air, temperatures warm up efficiently. By 10 a.m., we're already at 60. And then at noon, we're up to 70 degrees. High temperature of 76. We'll hit that 3 and 4 p.m. Nothing but sunshine tomorrow and a light northerly breeze. Castroville, Rio Medina up to 77 tomorrow. 77 Nixon, Smiley, Seguin, New Braunfels, about 75 for the high. And notice we're not going to see any big fluctuations the rest of this week and even through the weekend. Low to mid 70s for the most part. Friday is going to be the warmest at 78. But then we see a little downturn in the temperature as we get into next week. By this time next week, highs in the mid 60s, and they could go down even more from there. Let's talk about this. Here's our overall weather pattern. Active system moving away from us. This is what brought us the rain the past few days. That's over Louisiana, headed out of here. We have this bump in the upper level flow. That's the ridge, and it's going to keep us sunny, high and dry the rest of this week and most of the weekend. The next system we're watching is this big swirl off the California coastline. Get a better look at it with our water vapor imagery. This literally is a satellite that just detects water vapor in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. So it's easier to identify all the little swirls within here and the little Vort Maxes and whatnot. Cool looking imagery here, and it's just a big broad upper level low. It's going to modify a little bit as it heads eastward. It's going to open up its flow again and then dive southward a little bit and change itself over the coming days. The bottom line for us, Sunday and Monday, is when it gives us a slight chance of rain. I'm talking isolated showers. Right now, the rainfall potential is generally east of I-35, particularly Dallas, Tyler, College Station, over toward Houston as well. We could get clipped by a few showers. And of course, there's a lot of time between now and then. It could change a bit, but we're not all that optimistic in much changing for our rain chances. Just 20% Sunday and Monday, that's it. Now, behind that system, we're likely to cool off. We'll have that north wind behind that system. So we're talking about 70s all week and then that little downturn by Tuesday. So a sneak peek to Thanksgiving Wednesday travel right now looking okay. Sunny, 62 the high. Thanksgiving Day, the very preliminary outlook likely to change. Clear, cool. Look at that, 45 in the morning and a high of 64. That's where we're starting right now.
All right, I wish we had...
Like you said, at 6, cool. Clear, Pleasanton.
Pleasanton, yep. It's like we're in utopia.
There you go.
I wish we had more pleasant news about the Spurs. ¿Qué pasó?
That's what every Spurs fan wants to know this evening.
What happened?
Just another reminder of how talented this NBA league is and how many teams are, trying to win championships. The Spurs have trailed by 40 points in 3 of their first 11 games and lost all of them. OKC had their way with the Spurs in the second half tonight. Plus, the UIW football team let the Southland Conference title slip away, but they've had time to reflect after an off week. The San Antonio Spurs are the youngest team in the NBA. The Thunder are the second youngest, but much further along in their process, coming off of a play-in appearance last season. The two squaring off tonight in OKC first quarter. Victor Wembanyama draws fellow top rookie Chet Holmgren out, then goes behind the back to the cup for the jam. Later, Holmgren hits the catch and shoot for the triple. Wembanyama trying to make it a one-possession game and succeeds, getting the mid-range J to go. But before the half, OKC in the driver's seat as Josh Giddey finds Holmgren for the slam. In the second half, things got ugly for San Antonio. The Thunder putting on a clinic. Giddey drop-off dish to Chet. Right there, beautiful. Then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hits the step-back triple. SGA had 28 points, a career-best 7 steals, and the Spurs turned the ball over 24 times as OKC led by 40 at one point. And San Antonio falls 123-87. San Antonio is now 0-2 in the in-season tournament and on a 6-loss streak. The Spurs open up a 4-game homestint with the Kings on Friday.
Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
The Dallas Cowboys have had a handful of decisive victories so far this season, which allows young talent like the beloved Deuce Vaughn to get on the field. In some of those early big wins, head coach Mike McCarthy wasn't happy with the drop in fourth quarter production when those guys stepped in. But that wasn't a concern this past Sunday against the Giants.
It's important for these young players to take advantage of these opportunities because they're so special, and we've been so fortunate to get these young players this many reps. So just really made a big emphasis at halftime that, hey, we got to make sure we take advantage of this and keep playing because, when your time comes to play, that's the expectation. So, and I thought our young players did a good job of that.
The Cowboys have a short week next week, 2 games in 4 days. All right, the UIW football team has had ample time to reflect on its November 4th loss to Nichols, which allowed the Colonels to clinch the Southland Conference title in an automatic playoff bid. The Cardinals had won 2 straight conference titles prior. Next, UIW faces Houston Christian to close out the season, an important game for the FCS playoff picture.
Not like last week because I thought that it brought us closer together as a team. God uses this game in a funny way to teach you about life, and we gained a little bit of humility last week, and it brought our guys closer together. We aired some things out of the football team. We talked about what's ahead of us and how we're going to approach it, and we're going to go attack it.
We are coming off of a big weekend of playoff high school volleyball, and an even bigger one is on the horizon. Over the weekend, the Davenport High School volleyball team advanced to the state tournament for the first time in school history. The Wolves' quest for state hardware continues Thursday night when it faces Salina in the 4A state semifinal match.
I've gotten some film on them. They're big, they're strong, they have a great offensive system. So I think it's just going to be the battle of who's going to execute, who's going to be coachable, who's going to be able to find weaknesses and really go after them.
I think it really comes down to our mentality and how we hold ourselves throughout the game, like next ball mentality. That's what we really like to focus on.
I think we just need to play our game. Focusing on ourselves is the biggest thing that we've been working towards this year, because last year we kind of got all frantic, but this year we're just new mindset, our game, our time.
Exciting times for Davenport. All right, after the break, Livonia is featured in our Game of the Week. Stay with us. We are on to the area round of the high school football postseason. On Friday, our Game of the Week will be live here on KSAT 12 between Bernie and Livonia. Yesterday, we talked to last year's Class 4A Division I state runners-up, the Bernie Greyhounds, as they look to win it all this year. On the other side, the Bears advanced past the first round with a 35-14 win. And now Livonia is looking to build off of last year's second round exit.
Last year, it was a special year. We got new coaches, and we rambled off eight wins in a row, I think, and it was just a great experience. But winning a game in the playoffs, getting to the second round. But this year, we're looking to make a run.
Just 32 teams remain in contention for the ship. You can catch the full game between Bernie and Livonia here on KSAT 12 at 7 o'clock from Comalander Stadium this Friday.
All right, exciting stuff, Mary.
Yes, exciting times.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. That does it for our time on the Night Beat. Good Morning San Antonio starts at 5 a.m.
Thank you so much for keeping us company. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.